All right, Shalom. First and foremost, I'd like to give all the honor, glory, and praise unto Yahweh, Hashem, Yahweh Shai, Hashem, Rakakadosh. Double honors and respect to the elders and to the apostles of the great millstone. Peace and blessing to all Akim that are preaching and teaching this word with 100% truth and sincerity. Excuse me. And unto the men, women, and children that are listening and learning. And unto the Ba'ath Adabadah, the elect house of David that is scattered abroad, I give you my utmost and sincere salutations. Okay. This lesson will be entitled Household Conduct Part 1, How to Raise Children. So we're going to go to the book of Proverbs. It's going to be Proverbs chapter 22, verse 6. And it says, train up a child in the way he should go, and when he is old, he will not depart from it. Okay, so, train up your child, teach him the ways of Yahweh Hashem Shai, this doctrine, and how they're supposed to conduct themselves. Okay? And when he is old, he will not depart from it, because you've already instilled this doctrine, you've already instilled those ways, the beliefs in that child. If you have a kid, however you raise them, that's how they're going to be. Okay? That's why you got to, that's why the scriptures say you got to lead by example. All right. Let's see here. We're going to go down to verse 15. And it says, foolishness is bound in the heart of a child, but the rod of correction shall drive it far from him. So, okay, so we don't know, kids are immature, they can be ignorant at times, but the rod of correction, rebuking them and correcting them, telling them where they messed up, getting in your child's ass. If an ass whooping is going to get them to wake up and realize it, then so be it. That old saying, this is going to hurt you more than it's going to hurt me. You want your kid to do better, and sometimes you have to discipline them in some way. This is going to be the same book of Proverbs, chapter 23, verse 13. And it says, withhold not correction from the child, for if thou beatest him with the rod, he shall not die. So, if your child needs that discipline, that ass whooping, give it to him. If he's way out of line, put him back in line. So, don't go easy on your, yeah, we love our kids, but that don't mean that we go easy on them. Okay, let's see. I'm gonna get verse 14 right here. Verse 14, thou shalt beat him with the rod and shalt deliver his soul from hell. So correction keeps you from going off and ultimately, dying. All right, being judged. All right, so we're going to get chapter 29, book of Proverbs, chapter 29, verse 15. It says, the rod and reproof give wisdom, but a child left to himself bringeth his mother to shame. Okay? So, again, the rod, the correction, the ass whooping and the correction, it gives wisdom. It makes the child learn their lesson. And a child left to himself bringeth his mother to shame. So a child that has no discipline or just does whatever he wants, he brings his mother to shame. Because in the household, the man's the head of the household, the woman keeps the house, cleans the house, she takes care of the house, and she takes care of the children. So, a child that is undisciplined and doesn't know guidance, bringing his mother to shame. Because his mother was the one that was teaching him, raising him. Okay, verse 17, it says, correct thy son, and he shall give thee rest. Yeah, he shall give delight unto thy soul. So, if your son you correct your kid, and they turn around and start doing the right thing, it brings relief to you. It just feels good that your kid is now starting to, he's learned, he or she has learned, and now they're doing, what's right or what's better. But let's see. Get this is gonna be Ecclesiastes, chapter 12, verse 7, and it says, let's see, hold on. Then shall the dust return to the earth as it was, and the spirit shall return unto the power. Wait, Salakia. Ecclesiastes chapter 12, verse 1, not verse 7. Salakia on that. Verse 1, it says, remember now thy Creator in the days of thy youth, while the evil days come not, nor the years draw nigh, when thou shalt say, I have no pleasure in them. Okay? I'm going to read that again. Ecclesiastes 12:1. Remember now thy Creator in the days of thy youth, while the evil days come not, nor the years draw nigh, when thou shalt say, I have no pleasure in them. Okay, so remember, the one who remember the one who woke you up and gave you this truth. Don't take pleasures in these worldly, don't take pleasure in this kind of just basically just keep your mind focused on what's the truth here, because you don't want to have no pleasure in this world, because it's better to be in the house of mourning than in the house of mirth. It's just this it's this truth that gives you a stable mind and a peace of mind, and it gives you that comfort. But the things of this world, man, like, you just, the more and more of this wickedness that you see just coming about, just the more you want to get out of here. All right, Salakia. This is going to be Deuteronomy chapter 6, verse 19. Verse 1. And it says, now these are the commandments, the statutes, and the judgments, which the Lord your power commanded to teach you, that ye might do them in the land whither ye go to possess it. Verse 2, that thou mightest fear the Lord thy power to keep all his statutes and his commandments which I command thee, thou and thy son and thy son's son, all the days of thy life, and that thy days may be prolonged. Verse 3, hear therefore, O Israel, and observe to do it, that it may be well with thee, and that ye may increase mightily, as the Lord Yahweh Shai thy fathers hath promised thee, in the land that floweth with milk and honey. Verse 4, hear, O Israel, the Lord our power is one Lord, and thou shalt love the Lord thy power with all thine heart, and with all thy soul, and with all thy might. And verse 6, and these words which I command thee this day shall be in thy heart. 7, and thou shalt teach them diligently into thy children, and shalt talk of them when thou sittest in thine house, and when thou walkest by the way, and when thou liest down, and when thou risest up. Okay, so these law, statutes, and commandments were given unto Israel and Israel alone, and there's so many scriptures to prove that it wasn't given to everybody. If we walk in these statutes and in the ways of Yahweh Shai, we shall prosper. And our children, if they're walking in the ways too, happier, as the parent, to do the right, that's the one thing that makes parents proud of their kids, just doing the right thing to do better. Verse 8, it says, and thou shalt bind them for a sign upon thine hand, and they shall be frontless between your eyes. Verse 9, and thou shalt write them upon the posts of thy house and on thy gates. Okay? So, this is this is the end. This is your real school book, as as they say. The best way I could put it. This is the best way to teach and to give that knowledge, wisdom, understanding. Can't remember. I think it was Thomas Jefferson who made the quote, "A thorough understanding of the Bible is better than any college education." So, if you understand this thoroughly, a college education means nothing, because this is the true wisdom here. All right, now we're going to go to the book of Joshua. Book of Joshua, chapter 1. Chapter 1, verse 7, and it says, "Only be thou strong and very courageous, that thou mayest observe to do according to the law, to all the law which Moses my servant commanded thee. Turn not from it to the right hand or to the left, that thou mayest prosper whithersoever thou goest." Verse 8, "This book of the law shall not depart out of thy mouth, but thou shalt meditate therein day and night, that thou mayest observe to do according to all that is written therein, for then thou shalt make thy way prosperous. And then thou shalt have good success." So, we are to meditate upon these scriptures day and night, okay? This is all that we should be thinking about. Okay, this is, excuse me, to meditate therein, to practice, to rehearse the righteous acts, to get it right so it just becomes natural and you just do it. After all, repetition is the mastery of all things. Now we're going to go to the same book, the book of Joshua, chapter 24, verse 15. Just going to get it real quick. Let me get it. Okay, here we go. And it says, "And if it seem evil unto you to serve the Lord, choose you this day whom you will serve, whether the gods which your fathers served that were on the other side of the flood, or the gods of the Amorites in whose land ye dwell. But as for me and my house, we will serve the Lord." So, once again, it's either you are with the Lord or you are against him. So you have to choose between the world and Yahweh Hashem Yahushai. Hopefully we've all chosen Yahweh Hashem Yahushai, and we stick with that. All right. Next is going to be the book of Genesis. Genesis chapter 17. Genesis chapter 17, verse 10. And it says, "This is my covenant, which ye shall keep between me and you, and thy seed after thee. Every man-child among you shall be circumcised." Verse 11, "And ye shall circumcise the flesh of your foreskin, and it shall be a token of the covenant betwixt me and you." Verse 12, "And he that is 8 days old shall be circumcised among you, every man-child in your generations. He that is born in the house or bought with money of a stranger, which is not of thy seed." Okay. Let's see, hold on a second. Let's lock in. Okay, we read verse 13 here, and it says, "He that is born in thine house, and he that is bought with thy money, must needs be circumcised, and my covenant shall be in your flesh for an everlasting covenant." Okay? So, this covenant was given to us and our descendants. Okay? And I remember going back into a lesson about the circumcision, well, on the 8th day. But you can go back and watch that video. But that was I did a lesson on why circumcision is important. It's part of our customs. Every man-child has to be circumcised. All right. This is gonna be 2 Timothy the book of 2 Timothy, chapter 3, verse 15. And it says, and that from a child thou hast known the Holy Scriptures, which are able to make thee wise unto salvation through faith, which is in Hamashiach Yahushai. Okay, and that from a child, because when we come into this, it's like baby steps, starting all over again. That milk and honey. Let me see if I can find that scripture. The milk. Peter. Let me see here. Let's see if I can find it real quick here. Salakia, I can't find that script, but it'll come back to me. Just gotta remember it was about the milk and the honey. But we're gonna go to 1 Corinthians. 1 Corinthians chapter 13, verse 11. And it says, when I was a child, I spake as a child. I understood as a child. I thought as a child, but when I became a man, I put away childish things. Okay? Being a part of this truth, you grow up. Time to put away those childish things and start being a man and taking care of business. All right. This is gonna be Luke. Okay. Luke chapter 18. Luke 18 and 17. And it says, verily I say unto you, whosoever shall not receive the kingdom of the Most High as a little child shall in no wise enter therein. Okay? In fact, let me go up. I'm going to go up to verse 16 here. It says, but Yahushua called them unto him and said, suffer little children to come unto me, and forbid them not. For of such is the kingdom of heaven. Verse 17, verily I say unto you, whoso shall not receive the kingdom of the Most High as a little child shall in no wise enter. So you have to, it's as plain and simple as that. You have to humble yourself, fear the Lord, know the name, and be willing to be retaught all over again. You have to be willing to learn. And if you don't receive it, as a child, then coming into this thing, not knowing a thing of what's really going on, but to be taught. If you receive it not, it wasn't meant for you. All right, this is going to be the book of 3 John. Book of 3 John, chapter 1, verse 4. And it says, I have no greater joy than to hear that my children walk in truth. Okay? So again, it's a joyous thing that when your kids are walking and, doing what they're supposed to be doing the right thing, especially if you have children that are in the truth and they're being obedient like they're supposed to be, it's a great relief as a parent, even though I don't have kids of my own, but it's going to be the book of 1 John. 1 John chapter 5. Chapter 5, verse 2. It says, by this we know that we love the children of the Most High, when we love the Most High and keep it. When we love the Most High and keep His commandments. Verse 3, for this is the love of the power, that we keep his commandments, and his commandments are not grievous. Okay? Let's see, verse 4, for whatsoever is born of the power overcometh the world, and this is the victory that overcometh the world, even our faith. Okay? So, these commandments are to help you overcome, to make you, they're to refine you. And you know, they're not grievous, okay? They're meant to help you get better. And it says and whoever is born of the power overcometh this world. So, you know, Lord willing that we are the elect. That, you know, that we get this knowledge, wisdom, understanding, and that the Lord is going to be with us in those days. And those days are fast approaching. All right. This is going to be the book of Colossians. It's going to be the book of Colossians. It's going to be chapter 3, verse 20, and it says, children, obey your parents in all things, for this is well pleasing unto the Lord. So, one of the commandments, you know, honor thy father and thy mother. All right. Excuse me, it's still early. This is gonna be I'm gonna go down to verse 21, and it says, fathers, provoke not your children to anger, lest they be discouraged. So, you know, aside from disciplining your child, but you know, when you provoke your child or give them a hard time or you put them down, like, you know, don't discourage them, because when you do that, that causes a feeling of resentment. And you know, if your children are discouraged about something or down and depressed, you know, you're supposed to be there to help uplift them. Don't make it any worse. And trust me, I've had experiences with that. You know, there are times when I just, when it comes to that particular scripture, there were times where I did me and my father didn't see eye to eye, but you know, like I said, that's different. That's a different story. But let's see. This is gonna be Ephesians chapter 6, verse 1. Oh. Ephesians 6 and 1, and it says, children, obey your parents in the Lord, for this is right. Verse 2, honor thy father and thy mother, which is the first commandment with promise. Verse 3, that it may be well with thee, and thou mayest live long on the earth. And verse 4, and ye fathers, provoke not your children to wrath, but bring them up in the nurture and admonition of the Lord. So once again, you know, don't abuse your child. You can correct them, but don't abuse them. Don't, you know, you have to show tough love, yes, but don't, you know, overdo it. You know, and cause your your own children to resent you in some way, shape, or form. So, you know, raise them up with the knowledge, wisdom, understanding of the scriptures, and you know, you won't have no issues. Okay, now we're gonna get to the book of Mark. The book of Mark, chapter 10. Mark chapter 10, verse 13. And it says, and they brought young children to him, that he should touch them, and his disciples rebuked those that brought them. Verse 14, but when Yahushua saw it, he was much displeased, and said unto them, suffer little children to come unto me, and forbid them not, for of such is the kingdom of heaven, of the kingdom of the power. Verse 15, it says, verily I say unto you, whoso shall not receive the kingdom of the power of the child, this little child, shall not enter therein. Verse 16, and he took them up in his arms, put his hands upon them, and blessed them. So, suffer little children, that talking about us, we're suffering for this truth, right? Suffering for the sake of Yahweh, for Lord Yahweh Shai. So, we have to go, we all have to bear our cross, bearing the burden of this truth, whatever lot you may be in. All right. Let's see. This is going to be Isaiah chapter 3, verse 12. And it says, "As for my people, children are their oppressors, and women rule over them. O my people, they which lead thee cause thee to err, and to destroy the way of thy paths." So, children are our oppressors. Women rule over us. And children being our oppressors, talking about Esau, Edom, because he's nothing but a big, whiny, resentful child, right? Hate or despiteful child, right? And also that also goes into, children, turning against their parents, killing their parents. Just demonic children. And, women ruling over us, women having authority over the man, which is totally off. But that's the society that we live in. All right, now I'm going to get Jeremiah chapter 4, verse 22. Jeremiah 4 and 22, and it says, "For my people is foolish, they have not known me, they are sottish children, and they have none understanding, they are wise to do evil, but to do good they have no knowledge." And that's a true saying for the 2/3 of our people. They won't listen to correction, They don't want to get better, they just want to stay right where they're at, they're comfortable with it. They have all the wisdom to do, they're wise to do evil, do all this abominable shit, but to do something right, they don't care, or they just don't know. Okay, now we're going to go to Psalms 132. Psalms 132, verse 12. It says, "If thy children will keep my commandment, will keep my covenant and my testimony, that I shall teach them, their children also shall sit upon the throne forever." Okay, so, being in this, if your children are in it and they're doing it with all truth and sincerity, even they will have a place reserved for them on the throne, All right, it's going to be 1 Timothy. First Timothy chapter 4. So let me get there. 1 Timothy chapter 4, verse 12. And it says, "Let no man despise thy youth, but be thou an example of the believers, in word, in conversation, in charity, in spirit, in faith, in purity." So we have to lead by, we have to be lead by example to those that believe. Lead by example, by keeping your word and conversation and charity and spirit and faith and purity. You have to keep all manner of conversation holy, and you have to stay in the spirit. Okay. In fact, let me get 1 Corinthians real quick. 1 Corinthians chapter 15, verse 33. And it says, Be not deceived. Evil communication corrupt good manners. Okay? So, you know, you have to be mindful of your actions and your conduct and the words that come out of your mouth when you're around others. You know, especially being in the brotherhood, you know, when you're with brothers, you know, keep all manner of conversation holy, separate, and just to a higher standard. You know, don't lower yourself to the people of this world, because that's you don't bring that kind of vibe around us. We don't deal with that. All right. Okay, I had some precepts here. This is going to be Exodus chapter 20, verse 12. Get there real quick here. Exodus 20 and 12, and it says, Honor thy father and thy mother, that thy days may be long upon the land, which the Lord thy power giveth thee. So show that respect to your parents. You know, show them that, you know, even if they're not in the truth, you still have to show that level of respect. Now, I'm speaking to myself first and foremost. Next is going to be the book of Deuteronomy. Deuteronomy 21 and 18. And it says, If a man have a stubborn and rebellious son, which will not obey the voice of his father, or the voice of his mother, and that when they have chastened him, and will not hearken unto them. Verse 19, Then shall his father and mother lay hold on him, and bring him out unto the elders of his city, and unto the gate of his place. Verse 20, And they shall say unto the elders of his city, This our son is stubborn and rebellious. He will not obey our voice. He is a glutton and a drunkard. You know, glutton meaning just lazy, and a drunkard meaning, you know, he's rebellious. Okay? Verse 21. And it says, And all the men of his city shall stone him with stones, that he die. So shalt thou put evil away from among you, and all Israel shall hear and fear. Okay? So, you know, you have to be good to your parents, no matter whether they agree with you or not. Verse 20, okay, now this is going to be Proverbs chapter 17. Proverbs 17 and 25. Proverbs 17 and 25, it says, A foolish son is a grief to his father, and bitterness to her that bare him. So a foolish son is a shame to his parents. Okay, because, you know, they're the one that raised him. You know, if you're a parent and if you raise your kid and he acts foolish or does something stupid, you know, it's a bad look on you because it's your kid. Okay, going back to Exodus, chapter 21. Exodus 21 and 15. And it says, And he that smiteth his father or his mother shall surely be put to death. So those who go against their parents, you know, attack them or cause them harm in any way, shape, or form, or just cause them grief in general, you know, he's just to say, he shall be surely put to death. So, you know, honor your parents. Proverbs chapter 19. Proverbs 19, verse 18, and it says, Chasten thy son while there is hope, and let not thy soul spare for his crying. So, again, you know, this is going to hurt you more than it's going to hurt me. You know, you got to chasten your son, give him that ass whooping. You know, don't feel bad for his tears just because he's crying. You know, you can cry all you want, but you're going to get this ass whooping. Let's see. There's going to be Proverbs again. It's going to be Proverbs chapter 13, verse 24. And it says, "He that spareth his rod hateth his son, but he that loveth him chasteneth him betimes." So, he that spareth his rod hateth his son, which means if you don't give your son the tough love and discipline that he needs, it just shows that you really don't care about him. If you did care, you would whoop that ass. But if you don't care, how is he gonna learn? How is he gonna do better? Let's see. But he that loveth him chasteneth him betimes. So, if you love your son, you'll correct him whenever he goes off. It's just that simple. All right, so, and another thing too, let me get from the Apocrypha here. 2nd Esdras, I think. Bring forth, let's see. No, it's not Ecclesiasticus. Bring forth monsters. Let's see. Roughly paraphrasing, but let's see here. Slovakia. Trying to see if I can find that script. The one where women shall bring forth monsters. Roughly paraphrasing, but a lot of these Israelite women, they be bringing forth these GMO babies, because of all this food, this abominable food, these demonic children that talk back to the parents, or want to be the other, play for the other team instead of playing, instead of accepting what they're born with. But that also goes into children born with issues. But that's all because of the society we live in. Look how disgusting it is. You can't raise a child perfectly in this society. You just can't. Or the way you want to. There's too much crap going on. In fact, excuse me. It's going to be the book of the Deuteronomy 28th chapter here. Let's see here. Because it says here that about children, if I can find it. Let's see. Oh, here we go. Deuteronomy 28:32. This is one of them. "Thy sons and thy daughters shall be given unto another people, and thine eyes shall look and fail with longing for them all the day long, and there shall be no might in thy hand." Excuse me for a second. Excuse me, it's my allergies. But yeah, this is our sons and our daughters, man. They given unto another people. And there shall be no might in thy hand. We long for our children. Our children follow after, these idols, and these other philosophies. They don't. There's just, like I said, there's just no order in the household nowadays. And also, let's see here. We shall not, we shall not enjoy our children, man. It's just, like I said, this was a household conduct part 1, how to raise children. But as I said before, it's this book right here. This is the only book that not just our children, but an entire nation needs. This is the instruction booklet to everything. So this is the best way to educate your children as well too. So I hope this was an edifying lesson unto the body and to those that are new coming in, listening, learn with all sincerity. And I apologize earlier, just waking up early and my allergies are going, and plus I gotta go to work soon. So I like to give all the honor, glory, and praise unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, Bahashem, Rakakadash. Double honors and respect to the elders and to the apostle of the great millstone. Peace and blessing to all Akim that are preaching and teaching this word with 100% truth and sincerity. And unto the men, women, and children that are listening and learning. And unto the Barth of Davidah, the elect house of David that is scattered abroad, I give you my utmost and sincere salutations. See you on the next lesson, Lord willing. Kwam Yasharallah, Wa Ababa Bal, Shalom, Barakatam.